and welcome to the Developer Spotlight series, where we shine a light on our incredible developers and creators that are building on Xano. I'm Liz, and today we are excited to feature someone truly inspiring in this space. Joining us is Luke, the creator and co-founder of Lectec. Luke, welcome to the show. It is a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is a great pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Luke, before we dive into all of the amazing things that you and Lectec are working on, I just want to get started with you. If you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about your journey, what got you into development, and then eventually into founding Lectec.
Yeah, certainly. So my story starts when I graduated from college. So that was back in 2022, so pretty recently. And I was lucky enough to earn a role at Amazon. So I was on a really cool team. It was a Amazon Fresh, but I was like their central intelligence and data science team. So I have no idea how I got to get on there because I definitely didn't have the technical aptitude of it. But yeah, I had an awesome time. There was like 20 engineers in the team. So I was able to work up to become an engineer, and they gave me such amazing projects, things I only wish I could have worked on in my entire career. And I got to do it in like the first couple of years. So that helped me progress. I was able to work through getting promoted twice, which usually takes like 6 years. I was able to do it in less than 2. And then that's kind of where my best friend actually convinced me to leave that comfortable career and fast progressing career behind and start Lectec. So the story behind that is pretty long, but I'll try to keep it as condensed as possible. So my best friend, Jerry, we met at school. He was actually riding electric skateboard down our trail. And that was like 11 o'clock at night. I was coming back from the library because I was a nerd. And I used to watch this guy. His name was Casey Neistat. He was like a famous YouTuber. He pretty much started vlogging, and he would take these awesome videos of New York, him riding an electric skateboard. And Jared, on the other hand, he was also watching it, but much more mechanically inclined. He was like, I really want this. He couldn't afford it, so he decided to build one himself. So he was able to hack together after a ton of tries an electric skateboard. He posted about it, and then people wanted to buy it. So he was able to make a business starting at 15. It scaled to 30 countries, 6,000 riders, and he was able to support himself through college. And ultimately, when we met, we became best friends. He actually had like an extra electric skateboard in the trunk of his car that night. And we rode around, and the rest is kind of history of that in terms of the romance between us. But how Lectec came to be into that story was in 2021 Christmas. He gave one to his nephew for Christmas. So these were like adult high performance kits. They could go like a skateboard. They could go like 40 miles per hour. So that's pretty crazy. So his sister finally thought, his nephew Brian was old enough to get one for Christmas, and he gave it to him already put together because you could also build those. He thought he wanted to go ride it on Christmas morning, but he actually wanted to take it all apart and learn all about it. So that's where the idea of making it educational came to be, because Jerry and I really struggled with, in school, like that thought of how can I use this in the real world? And this was like our direct answer to this. This is something we loved growing up. He was able to teach himself mechanical, electrical engineering. And for me, like I was super intimidated by science, and this is something that's supposed to be challenging, but like also achievable, and have that confidence, especially at a young age, to go into a STEM career, which I was super fortunate and really lucky to have done. So that's a little bit about Lectec and how it came to be.
I absolutely love that story. I thought of many questions when you were like going through it. First of all, okay, so he had the skateboard in the trunk, like an extra one. You both started riding together. Love that piece of it. Were you a skateboarder before, like you already know how to ride, or was this your first time riding a skateboard?
First time riding, had no idea. He like just took me out into the parking lot. He's an awesome teacher. He's taught tons of people how to ride, and we just rode around for a while, and it was awesome. So we just became best friends ever since that moment.
Very, very cool. That's amazing. I love hearing the whole background about it. And I just want to take a quick pause here because there might be people listening to this that are not sure what Lectec is or what they do, what you guys are doing. Would you just like give a quick little background on like Lectec?
Certainly. Yeah. So with Lectec, it stands for electric technology. We're trying to revolutionize STEM education. So we have these electric vehicle kits. First, obviously, being electric skateboard. pre-fitting. So you actually build it yourself. You get all the tools and parts, comes in a nice little kit, and you get to build it from start to finish. And that's actually where Xano and WeWeb comes in, as I built a learning management system to be able to have like an assembly tutorial. So there's pictures and videos. So we've had really young kids, starting from like age 7, be able to build themselves, obviously with some supervision. And then, we are fitting into schools and the educational space because, we have this curriculum that's aligned to like the build process. So while you're building it, there's some videos, some web games teaching you about how the battery works, the drivetrain, the gears, how it all functions. And then we also have a bunch of other lessons for the teachers on top of it. So once you actually build it, that's kind of where the learning actually starts. And obviously the fun too, you get to ride it. But that's also where like these experiments and these lessons come to be as well. So you get to learn like Newton's second law, electromagnetism, basic physics, all of that using the electric skateboard. We also have electric scooter and experiments. And then on like the more technical level, you actually get to see, we have a web app that graphs out real-time data that comes from the skateboard or scooter. So you actually get to see the current, the voltage. So for example, you get to see like the current draw of the motor to the battery during regenerative braking. And you can also now code on top of that as well. So obviously being a programmer, you had to get coding into that space at some point. And Jared has an AI degree. I was on a data science team, so we'll have some like AI modules on top of that as well. So we'll have like real-time object detection with a camera and a Raspberry Pi and tons of other cool stuff in the future.
This is amazing. I really
Thank
wish
you.
like something like this existed when I was in school, because I feel
Exactly.
like learning like that would be so much more impactful and fun
Definitely.
rather than like reading a textbook, and then like memorizing stuff, being quizzed on it, then forgetting about it because I no longer need it. Like this is like an actual, like you're living it, right? You're learning by doing.
Absolutely.
Which in my personal preference, that's the way that I love to learn new information. So that is amazing.
Thank you.
And you did mention Xano and WeWeb, so I just want to go towards a little bit of that and want to hear about how you came across these platforms. It sounds like you and Jared had a little bit of a technical background, right? Jared more so. But correct me if I'm wrong. But I want to know how did you come about Xano and WeWeb?
Yeah. So Jared had definitely like the hardware background, so more the mechanical electrical engineer, and then he had obviously like his AI degree, so he definitely got exposed to the software side of things. Me, obviously I studied data analytics in school, and I was able to have that engineering role at Amazon. So I definitely had more of the software background side of things, while he was working on the hardware and the engineering for the kits and making improvements there. Obviously, we helped each other. He was actually one that found WeWeb and Xano. So we had this partnership with American Students Assistance, which is a large nonprofit that has this educational platform called Evolve Me. So it's free for anyone to use. It's actually super, super cool. It's ages 13 to 18. Anyone can sign up and you get to complete this task. So they partner with other companies such as us to create this content where students can learn from. So our task was learning how to build electric skateboards. There's some in videos, some web games teaching how to do so. And once they complete the task, they get these points that then they can redeem for like gift cards. And there's also like a lottery every week, which is absolutely amazing. Something I wish, again, I had when I was younger. But with this partnership, we needed to build out a platform to be able to serve this content. And we were like, oh, is this perfect? Because then we can also have our assembly tutorial and any other content, such as like the curriculum and lessons on this, what we call our learning management system. So WeWeb and Xano came to be because we only had like 2 months to complete it. And my full background was definitely not in full stack. I was more back end and more like the data engineering side of things. So that's really fits into the Xano really well because it's a relational database and that's what it's built on. So I get to use my SQL and stuff, which I'm sure we'll touch on. And the partnership between the both WeWeb and Xano is amazing. It's the quickest way to develop in what everyone should be using because I was an AWS fanatic, obviously working at Amazon. I knew the products. I was going to try to build this on like Amplify. I had like a buddy that was a solutions architect. He was telling me all how to do it. And I was like, once I saw WeWeb and Xano and with a little persuasion from Jared, I was like, yeah, this is the way it needs to be. Like there's no way I could teach myself full stack and be able to build a learning management system in a couple weeks. So WeWeb and Xano made it possible to do that.
That is amazing. And 2 months, like that is insane.
Yeah, it was a lot of weekends. It was actually during the holidays, so Christmas, New Year's, all that cool stuff, but it was worth it. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to learn too.
That's what I was just gonna ask you. Like, did you have to pull any like all-nighters having to create all of this?
Definitely some late nights, but I loved doing it. It was so much fun.
That is awesome. Very cool. And I want to hear about your experience with WeWeb particularly, right? So your experience was more so on the back end. So when you were developing on WeWeb, what was that like? Did you feel like it gave you the creative tools and control that you needed to bring your vision to life?
Yeah, certainly. So the biggest requirement we had was we needed to be able to have an API that would send to that platform that I was describing before. So obviously you can do that very easy with WeWeb, but it was super helpful both from like the WeWeb and Xano side, like having office hours. I basically was able to be taught how to do full stack, I feel like, and all like the documentation and the videos between both platforms. Like honestly, from like the WeWeb side of things, like Joyce and Quentin used to be on the team, do these incredible like informational videos that teaches you like every step of the way to be able to build things. And same with Xano, obviously with Louis and the whole team there. So obviously Liz yourself. So that was incredibly helpful. And like with WeWeb, I was able to kind of build on top of their WeWeb Academy. So they had like a template that kind of just like you can duplicate and then you can make it yourself. And that was extremely helpful because like it had all of the meats and bones already there for you. And while it didn't have everything functional because it had variables and stuff that didn't copy over, I was able to kind of like reverse engineer all the different components and elements to then I can then customize to what I need to do.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned office hours because I feel like that is like sometimes an undervalued resource, but it's totally there for anybody who ever wants to join. You
Yes.
can just come in, ask questions, you can get help on the spot. And yeah, I think Michael mentioned, yeah, like Luke would come to office hours all the time. So I'm so happy to hear that you found all of those resources helpful for you. Because that's what we want it to be.
Michael probably hated how many times I joined towards that a bit, but I don't join anymore because I kind of got everything I needed to do. So I think maybe you might miss me. I don't know.
We'll have to ask him. That is so funny, Luke. But no, I'm like that's exactly what it's there for. So I'm happy that you used it. And so speaking of Xano, so Xano is powering the backend, right? Now, with your experience, how did it help you handle things like the data, the logic, the scalability? Can you share like your journey with that? And then also, I'm curious to know, as you were using Xano, was there a moment when you were using it that it was kind of like that aha moment that you just felt like Xano was making your life easier?
100%. Yeah. So to be fully transparent, for a long time, I was kind of like figuring out where I wanted to go because being at Amazon, working in tech, like once you pick a route, it's gonna be really hard to work backwards and choose a different platform. So like what you pick at the beginning is super important that fits your needs going forward. And even when you scale, kind of thinking ahead because I've gone through plenty of migrations and I just know how hard and how just brutally painful it is. So I was trying to avoid that. So for a long time, I was actually looking at Supabase and Xano, which just like for the two that were integrated within WeWeb. And yeah, what kind of was the differential factor between both? I think both looked amazing. I'd done a ton of research, but like Xano's outstanding factor, I feel like, is its function stacks and being able to like very clearly describe what the business logic and what like the API is doing to accomplish what you need. Because for me, like not working in full stack, not really knowing front end, really, I actually never written an API before this point. It didn't even like really even know what it was. I knew like it was two softwares talking to each other, and that's kind of what you learn about when you Google it. But that was really all I knew. I didn't know what a REST API was. Didn't know what a GraphQL. None of that. So Xano, I think like made it super simplistic to understand. Like this is what's happening. There's tons of stuff at the beginning that made it super easy to start with, especially with like user management and authentication between WeWeb and Xano. I think that is phenomenal. And yeah, every platform should try to replicate that, because that's something I would never be able to do on my own. I mean, it does it all for you.
That is amazing. That was going to be my next question for you. Like, with your experience building this WeWeb on the front end, Xano on the back end, how is it connecting both of these platforms?
Yeah, it was so seamless. I mean, like WeWeb has a plugin, and Xano has like a whole 16 APIs that you just copy for authentication. There's videos again going through all of it to explain what each thing is doing, which is extraordinarily important. Like everything is built for a reason, especially like in these templates, and then it tells you exactly why. And to be able to understand that and differentiate between all APIs and know not only like what it does, but how to make it better or customize it to what you need was super helpful for me.
That's amazing. I love this. It sounds like, okay, so far we've talked about it and it sounds like it was a smooth sailing journey, but were there any challenges? Like, were there any times where you're like, oh no, like, how am I going to solve this?
Yeah, no, I think, especially when you haven't done anything like this before, there's always like something comes up and you kind of have like that pit in your stomach because you just like don't know if it's possible or like what it's going to take to get there, or especially how long it would be when you kind of have like a timer in the back of your mind where you need to accomplish something by a certain time. Luckily, Jared is very, very good at telling me to keep it simple and try to figure out things as quickly as it can be and not just think like long term and how it scales. So having that balance was really important. But yeah, I think there was plenty of challenges. I think one that was actually like more recent that didn't really feel like that pressure as much because I had a good confidence and good understanding of the different platforms was actually being able to customize the user management and authentication. So like on our platform originally, we just had email and password login. That's kind of what the authentication is. At least like the templates are built on, but I needed to extend that actually even further. So if our use case working with schools is, students don't really have access to email or, outside organizations might not be able to contact them. There's, I don't know if the best word, there's like bots or like firewalls, for school districts to be able to like stop those emails from being sent. So, we can kind of work with the teacher, but the teacher needs to manage her classroom and manage students. So being able to customize, the subscription to the lessons and the curriculum for the teacher, and the teacher being able to manage classrooms and be able to invite students and be able to like see the progress and stuff. That was an interesting challenge, but was able to figure it out. And now it's kind of built on a platform where students can have their own accounts and we'll be able to have answers saved and share with the teachers and so forth.
That is amazing. And absolutely, that's a challenge to solve for, right? Because like you mentioned, like some students may not have access to email, whether they're like too young for it or other reasons. So you kind of had to construct something that was going to be able to solve that for you. So thank you for sharing that story.
Definitely.
And what would you say, like for entrepreneurs like yourself, what makes Xano and WeWeb such a powerful combination?
Yeah, I think it's just you cut down development time by like exponentially. Like there's just no, honestly with ChatGPT, like it makes things a lot easier to write code, especially for simple web apps. But anything that has like user management and authentication and just like, complex, being able to have like question and answers, flashcards, things like all of that, like that's not an easy thing to do with ChatGPT. It's definitely getting better, and we've done a lot of awesome stuff with it. But like with Xano and WeWeb, we'll take the time that you could be writing React code and then feeding it back to ChatGPT to try to fix an error or add something, and then its window context isn't that much. So you kind of, once you get to a certain point, you can't really do too much on top of it. So this solves all of that, and like to build a whole web app from scratch, even AI, like I still feel like would be 100 times longer for me to build like this learning management system rather than WeWeb and Xano.
100%. We hear that a lot. And I've actually experienced that like myself, like trying to build something with JavaScript. And I'm like, oh, like I'll do it with ChatGPT. And then I just end up like having to prompt it so many times. And then
Yeah,
at the end, I'm like, this doesn't look right. Like, none of this is correct. And then debugging and all of that is just like
yeah,
a pain. So
100%. Yeah, you can't really rely on it to fix everything and do everything you need to. And like I honestly was able to have a really good experience at Amazon, but I would not deem myself as like a professional coder or anything close to that. You can most certainly ask Michael and the team about that. You guys are wizards compared to me. But yeah, Xano WeWeb, like it makes anybody that has like any inclination of wanting to learn and wanting to build something, honestly, a little bit of persistence, can do anything they want with it.
awesome. Awesome. Love to hear that, Luke. And I know we've been talking a lot about the platform, but we would actually love to see it. Would you
Yeah,
mind like showing it to us and like giving us a little bit of a tour and talking to us about, your favorite features and parts of it?
certainly, certainly. So this is our Lectec Academy. So it's public. Anyone can go to learn.lectec.com. And I'm actually gonna log out here. So if I go to this is the login screen, but if I just go to the public view, you can see we have some courses or content at the top, and then our curriculum here is at the bottom. So I'll start at the top. First big thing, so we have a hardware kit that you build yourself. So we need an assembly tutorial to go with it. So this is kind of what this looks like. You start from the top, it tracks some progress. Yeah, you just go through process. It tracks progress even when you're not signed in, but obviously if you create an account, it'll track it as well. And yeah, it just goes through every part you need to build it, which is awesome because, yeah, especially working with maybe instructors or teachers that don't have a STEM background, they don't necessarily know how to build an electric skateboard or what an ESC or battery does, and working with after schools and summer camps. Like this is trying to simplify the whole process. So we didn't want just the experience of building electric vehicle to be fun, but yeah, everything to be seamless end to end. And this is what this is helping to solve. There's also some videos you can turn off and on, and this explains how the motor works, all that cool stuff that goes into the actual build. So we'll keep adding more content there. That's available for everyone. We have a safety video. Obviously, that is the most important thing when riding it, especially with working with educational organizations and some other stuff. That's at the top. And the real meat of it is this curriculum. So yeah, we have 2 sets right now. We'll keep adding just like every educational technology company does. It's all aligned to like national standards. So let me log in and kind of show what that looks like just to give you a visualization. Let's do like colliding objects. So this would be the teacher's view. They get to go through a lesson. They have some extra tips and tricks throughout. But yeah, this is essentially what the student would see. There's some videos. This one's talking about collisions, so talking about like impact force, and there's some videos about Tesla and their crash tests, which is obviously a cool part compared to a textbook. You actually get to have some visuals and some videos. Yeah, and then this is them setting up an experiment, going step by step through. So this one specifically is, they're setting up a shoebox. They put some weight inside the shoebox, and they drive the skateboard in at a low speed. There's different speed nodes to it, and measure the impact force generated by it. So yeah, that's pretty much what the lessons look like. There's actually like they can prototype and design here. So they can add to like a feed in the future. Hopefully, like we'll be able to have it so the class can see everyone else's answers. Yeah, and then in terms of like the teacher, what I was talking about with that like authentication, we can ignore this one at the top. It's J Money as in Jared. So, but anyways, these are our class. This is my own testing, so ignore that. But yeah, they get to click in here and they get to like see if this will work. Maybe it's not gonna work right now while I'm showing it, which is awesome. So they get to add classes, they get to see all their students, and then they give them an access code, and then they're able to sign in back to that login screen with that code and be able to access all the curriculum that the teacher has subscribed to. So yeah, and the CTE side of things, that's a more technical high school and college level. Similar concept as well.
Awesome. This is making me want to retake physics. Like I want to go back, like go take a physics class. So question for you. Like I know we talked a lot about like schools and like summer camps. So it's available for those types of institutions, but what if somebody just like, a regular person wanted to learn about this and like wanted to use your product, is that available?
Certainly. Yeah. So if you just go to Lectec, lectec.com, anyone can get it. So yeah, we wanted to work with schools and educational organizations first because we wanted to make it educational. Like it didn't just want it to be a cool little electric skateboard. So we spent like a whole year in a school. This is actually like our fourth design iteration of it. So we know we're working with like over 50 organizations across the US and globally. So tons of schools and organizations using it. We know the educational value behind it. We have teachers teaching it. I've taught it myself. But anyone can go to lectec.com and order it. So that's the beauty of like the LMS is like we can serve anyone. So homeschools or just somebody wanted to buy it for their son or daughter, niece or nephew, and have that building and bonding experience, and obviously get that some fun, get to ride an electric vehicle. Yeah, it's open for everyone to use.
That is amazing because I'm thinking like, okay, so one of the things that like I enjoy doing is like Legos because it's freezing right now outside. Like I don't want to go out there. But like building something, or even if you have your kids home from like spring break or like winter break during the summer, and you're
Yeah,
wanting to like have, like you said, that bonding time, you can build something educational together and it's fun. It keeps them entertained. They're also learning at the same time. And then you get to test that out and have some fun at the end too. So it's
definitely.
a
Yeah,
win-win for everybody. Yeah,
certainly.
very cool. And then you did mention this was like the fourth iteration, right? So I did have a question I wanted to ask you. Like now that Lactech is live, how has it been like adding new features and making changes to your site?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe other than what I was just clicking on, it wasn't working exactly what I wanted to do. As every demo goes,
Yeah, of course.
we'll refresh and see what happens there. But yeah, no, it's been awesome. It's been super easy. Obviously, like you have all the version history, which is huge. Like I've made plenty of mistakes, and I need to roll back right away and be able to see what's going on. And they have testing, and especially Xano, like with its different, you have the live data and you have test data, and you also have different branches as well. So that's key, and especially from like the WeWeb side of things, it flawlessly integrates with Xano. Like you can just say like within the editor of WeWeb, want to be using like V2 branch and be able to test there, so it's not already merged. And then once it's ready to go, it's ready to go.
Perfect. And then what would you say like to somebody like, right, like that's an entrepreneur as well, and they might be hesitant to use no code or low code tools like Xano and WeWeb. What kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think it's the advice I'd give is you're doing the right thing. Don't try to just hack it around and do everything with no code. I mean, with just full code. It's just not worth the time nowadays. It's the future of where everyone will be building on. So why try to work like a dinosaur in the past and be able to build that? That's important to have like the foundational knowledge of like how it works and like the computational thinking and going through code and having like that basis, that background. But like this is the future, so you might as well hop on and build here.
Get on the train, basically.
Exactly.
Awesome. And look, what would you say? What's next for Lectech? Like, what's next for you? What's next for Jared? What's your vision for this awesome thing that you have built?
Yeah, yeah. So something that exciting news to share is February 7th we'll be airing on Shark Tank. So super excited about that. It's been a long time in the making. So that's gonna hopefully help us just kind of get it out there and keep spreading this impact all around. In terms of like hardware and software products, like we're gonna keep just building anything that has to do with electric technology in the way that we wish we had when we were becoming engineers. So, if it's vehicles, but also just other stuff that goes along with it. So like wind turbines or, just a ton of different stuff that's in that area. So it's a really growing field, and it's going to be super important for the future of society. So yeah, we kind of want to modernize how it's being taught. And from like the software side of things, it's just an endless amount of things we could keep working on. So more lessons, more content. I have no idea how that's going to look in even a couple months. So I'm excited to see.
That is very exciting. Congratulations to both of you. That is so
Thank
cool.
you.
I cannot wait to watch the Shark Tank episode. And if we have the link, we'll make sure to drop it in the comments as well.
Absolutely.
That way our viewers can check you out on Shark Tank. And then other than that, like where can people go to learn more about Lectec and where can they follow what you're doing?
Yeah. So our website, Jared's a really cool job with designing it all, and it looks really good. It has a ton of information. So it's lectec.com, lectec.com. And then it has like our contacts. It's a small team, Jared and I, and a couple others. So you'll get directly in contact with us, and I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have. And our social handles are Go Lectec. So GO Lectec LECTEC. So we'll have some funny videos, some cool content going in that route as well.
Love that. We'll drop that in the description as well. That way all of that
Perfect.
is there and people can follow you. Jared, it has been, I just said Jared. Big shout out to Jared. Luke, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show with us. Thank you again for sharing this awesome product that you and Jared have built. We look forward to seeing you on Shark Tank and look forward to seeing where you both take the product.
Yeah, thank you so much, Liz. And thank you to the whole Xano team for such an awesome product that made it possible to do all this. Thank you.
Absolutely, Luke. You have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye.